I hate to interrupt, but I don't think there's any sound for anyone on Zoom.
Just got the sound.
So much better, thank you. Nope, still no sound. Does anyone else on Zoom have sound, or is the sound not on?
I don't have sound either.
Okay, good. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Just want to make sure that it's not just my computer.
No, there's
No,
no
it's
sound.
okay if you're not interrupting if we can't hear anything.
This is true.
I assume they're trying to fix it.
Yeah, he just put on there, okay, working on it. So I think they finally heard us.
Can everybody hear those on Zoom?
Type in the chat if you're able to hear now.
Yes, we can hear.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, we should be good to go now.
Okay, back to my slides.
Yes.
All right. So now that everybody can hear this online, this morning just keeps getting better and better. So I'll go ahead and just start a little bit over, as you guys didn't hear. Sorry about that. Yeah, so one of the cool things about real estate is honestly being flexible, and things like this happen. I always get here early to anytime I'm speaking, I'll get here early to get everything set up, make sure we don't have any issues. And still, when you do that, you still have issues. And it's the same thing with real estate. We have to be willing to pivot and not get so locked into this is the only way to do things. So I was sharing earlier that, so I've been in real estate for 20 years, coming in September. And when I got into real estate, I was extremely excited. I was excited about the possibilities. I was excited about my freedom. I'm coming out of a job into being self-employed. And yet at the same time, I was really fearful. I was afraid, like, to take the action. I was afraid of the contract, to be honest with you. I was like, I'm going to screw up somebody's life. I'm going to make somebody lose their home, or I'm going to get into a lawsuit. I had all of these fears going on. And it was action that really resolved that. It's getting in and doing it. It's doing the training so that you can learn and grow. Yet at the same time, it's going on the appointments, doing the lead gen, going through the contract. And as you do it, you get more and more comfortable. The biggest thing that I was afraid of was the contract. And it didn't take long. It took me about 5 or 6 transactions. Then you're flipping the contract upside down and explaining it to people, and confidence comes. But one of the biggest challenges is in this industry is people do activities, but it's not productivity. It's just activities. They get locked into doing the wrong things. They're good things, but it's not moving them forward. And what I found with me was it was a hiding place. It was a place to hide and just not go out and do the things that I know I needed to do. So what this course is going to do is really give you the action steps to be able to move forward in your business. So I really want to encourage you to block it out in your calendar. This is 2 hours, 3 days a week going forward, and everything's going to build on itself. And by the time you get to the end, I'm telling you, you're going to be so far ahead of many agents that have been doing this for 5 years. And for some of you, if you've been through this before, then we just continue to go through training. Just because we've gone through something doesn't mean we have it. And so for somebody who's gone through this 6 months ago, I was telling Michael, I said, I went through it 3 times myself as a student, and I'd already been in real estate for years. So I'm like, I can still learn. I can grow. I'm going to hear from different speakers. People are going to come from different perspectives, and this is going to be really helpful for me. And then I started teaching it. So I've been, I don't know, 10 or 12 times at least that I've gone through and taught the course as well. I had one agent come through, and she had been in the industry for 20 years. And she comes in, sits down in the class. At that time, probably 25 people in the class, a lot of them new agents, some of them that have been 5, 10 transactions. She was a top producer. She was somebody who, well known in our community, did an excellent job. And she was probably, with her and one other person, doing 50, 60 transactions a year. She's sitting in the class, and I said, appreciate you being here, Nancy. You've been in real estate for 20 years. Why are you here? And what she said was, I got away from the basics. And she said, I'm back into my refresher and to learn and get into the action. She only made it 2 weeks and she had to drop out. So people look at that and go, man, that was a failure. What happened was she just rejuvenated herself, got herself back into the right activities. Within 2 weeks, she had so much business going on. I mean, I'm talking literally within 2 weeks, she had 10 pieces of business going, and all of these new buyers, new sellers. And she said, I just can't keep up right now. And I'm like, you're perfect. So this isn't just for brand new agents. It's designed for newer agents, but it's also designed for, I know we have some in Zoom. You've been in real estate for several years, and you're like Nancy, you're refreshing. So, so we're going to go through, we lost about 20 minutes. So as we go through, this is a working class. So any questions that you have, go ahead and jump in and ask those questions. We do just have 2 hours and it'll go really, really fast. So we'll just get to the point and move on. But I want to answer any questions that you have. And my desire is that you will commit to just coming through this whole thing. It's like I said, it's going to build on itself as we go through. I'm going to kind of introduce, lay out some mind work for today. And then Wednesday will be the next class. And Mary Ann Honeyman will teach you that.
So Lionel, can I ask real quick?
Yeah.
So what's so exciting, or what's the big difference with Ignite to what Bold is to Keller Williams? As a new agent, I haven't been through either one. What separates this to being something special and different opposed to the Bold approach, or is it two different completely different mindsets towards it? What's the difference?
Well, this is spread out, you know, and where Bold, you go once a week and then you apply all week long. Here, we're doing a class, 2 hours, and you're spending 7, 8 hours in Bold.
Yeah.
One day, and then you're working on all that all week. So what we're doing, it's more tight knit. So there's more accountability. And as you're showing up, you're learning, you have a day off, and then you're coming back and learning the next day. So 20 different lessons. I think one of the differences is too, is that you're hearing from a multitude of top agents in our company.
Yeah.
So the coach is great that we fly in for Bold. Here, you're hearing from your local peers, and you get a different perspective from all the different people. But at the same time, it's building on as you go through. So I would suggest there's going to be some homework, some things that you'll want to do every day. And as we really get into the material, it's going to get you on your what we call the 20%, the income producing activities. And that's how Nancy, earlier when I told that story, that's how she ripped into her business, because she just did the activities. And I believe that, like, it's failing forward is you're going to get in, you're going to make some calls, you're going to get frustrated because you didn't have the right answer, or went on a listing appointment, you didn't get it. It's just keep coming, keep going back. And before you know it, you look back and you realize how far you've come. And in 6 weeks, if you commit to this program, you're going to be so far ahead. I don't know if that fully answers your question. They're both the core classes. These two, except this is an in-house, and that one was flying a coach in and being in a room with teams and stuff like that. So, okay. So let me. Okay. Why is this not working all of a sudden? Huh? Oh, it is?
Just froze. Yeah, it's frozen.
Corinne, if you're on and you can hear, will you come in here again? My slides aren't progressing. So what I'm going to do is, this is a great example of just adjusting. So my slides aren't working. I'm just going to go ahead and move forward. If you look on page 2, the program is built in. Answer part of your question here, Billy, is we're going to cover 4 major sections. So the first section is being a real estate expert. We're going to start on that today. And then we're going to talk about lead gen, the second session, and then lead follow-up. And then we're going to focus on transactions. Slides, we break that down. Let's try it one more time here. Not working. I think it's in, no, it's not in your book.
If you try to move the cursor up.
Move the cursor up from the computer.
Yeah. No.
Oh.
Something.
Okay.
Commercial.
Okay.
Because it was off the screen.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on. Okay, so these are the four major areas that we're going to cover. It kind of breaks out like this. These first four sections, this is what we're going to focus on is sparking your career today, embracing the job, connecting with the market, and then defining your value, really understanding who you are and what you bring to the market. The second session is all about lead gen and tools and strategies, how to generate leads, and then lead follow-up. So we're going to focus on lead follow-up. And then when we get to those final 14 through 20, it's all going to be about the transaction. We build our foundation here, and then we're going to go in buyers, sellers, working with buyers and sellers, offers, negotiation, all those kind of things. So as we go through this, Gary says, anyone can do it, but not everyone will. And the question is, will you? And when I got started in this business, I was broke. And I know I talk to people a lot of times and they're like, no, I'm broke. And probably most were not as broke as I was. I literally had $139 to my name. I had 4 kids at home, my wife, and she stayed at home with the kids. And I had business cards. And I'm telling you what I did was I had a purpose. And we're going to talk about that here a little bit, your why. What drives you in this business? What drove me in this business was those 4 kids and my wife at home. And I put blinders on and I just went all in. And my focus was on for sale by owners and my sphere. And I built like crazy. I got up every day. I put blinders on. And in 2007, everyone was saying 2007, 2008, the market's terrible. And everybody's mindset went into the gutter. And mine, I just didn't pay attention. I didn't pay attention to the news. I didn't pay attention to what other people were saying. And I just locked in. And to my surprise, that year in 2008, I became the #1 agent in our company. We were smaller at that time, but I was really surprised. Second year, did the same thing. About halfway through, what ended up happening was I peeked my head up because people are like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And I was just being consistent. I got up every day. I put my blinders on. I didn't listen to anybody. But I poked my head up and I started listening to people, negative people. And my business was just soaring and then it just crashed. That's how powerful our mindset is. We'll go through more of this later. But that was when I began to look, can't get a loan, nobody's buying, everybody, all the problems. When I poked my head up like a gopher or something, looked around and I was like, oh my gosh, everything began to sink. And then I put my blinders back on, went back to work, and I didn't listen to everybody's negative. So that's really the important point is associate with people that are positive and moving forward. They don't have to be the most successful person, but they're moving forward. They're taking the action. These are the people you want to connect with. So Gary Keller interviews and talks to people all over the nation, and he says, what's the mindset of the top agents? And that's what Gary did. He's just interviewing them and he's like, what do you do? So he took all that information, he compiled it, and then he came up with some common situations, and he called it the 6 personal perspectives. So this is them. We're on page 3 of your notes. And so these are the 6. I'm going to break each of them down and we're going to talk about it. But I want to go back to this question again. Anyone can do it, which is true. Doesn't matter of your personality, your skill sets that you have. It really doesn't matter. Anyone could do it. Not everyone will. And the question is, will you? And not just will you, but will you commit to it? So that's actually the first one is commit to self-mastery. Self-mastery is really knowing your goals. Like when we talk about success is knowing where you're going and consistently moving there. Earl Nightingale says, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Think about that. And what that means is I have a goal. I know where I'm going. I've got a purpose behind that, and I'm constantly moving toward it. It looks like this. So you got to be okay. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. Some people look at it like a straight line to success. That's not reality. But the key is commitment. So it was once said, the difference between commitment versus curiosity. Curiosity will do whatever is convenient. Commitment will do whatever it takes to get there. So this is self-mastery, knowing your goals, knowing your strengths and weaknesses. I'm pretty familiar with what my strengths are, and a lot of them I can just do it with my eyes closed. A lot of classes I can just come in and teach the class. I wouldn't necessarily have to, spend hours and hours and hours studying. But for me to take it to the next level, I'm going to have to do something different. I'm not a very organized person. I'm aware of that. So what did I do? I hired people to handle that part of it. It's like, get me in front of people, get me in front of a seller, and I have a really good chance of taking that listing. Get me in front of a buyer, and I can have a great conversation with them. Put me out and doing transaction coordination and paperwork. That's my weakness. I'm going to die in that. It doesn't mean it's good or bad. I'm just aware of it. And it sucks up my energy. So I'm just going to pay somebody else to do that. So it's really about knowing ourselves and just knowing how to work with your strengths and with your weaknesses. So commit to self-mastery, commit to growth. The second one is this 80-20 principle. Who's familiar with that? Sorry, I can't see you guys online, but Michael, familiar with that? Are you familiar with the 80-20? Okay. Billy, have you heard that?
I've heard of it, but I haven't heard of it for real.
Okay. So the idea is, another word for it is called the Pareto law. And he was an Italian, and basically what he realized is that 80% of the land was owned by 20% of the people. And then when you begin to look at this through life, you begin to realize it's not those exact numbers, but it's in that range. Like, a lot of my success is coming from a little bit of my activity. Okay. So 20% of my activity is giving me 80% of my results. So if you looked at it in a church, for example, you would notice that it was 20% of the people that was doing 80% of the work, or 20% of the people that was given 80% of the money. When you look at your database, if you really have a good, strong database built out, you'll realize that 20% of your database is giving you 80% of your business. And it's really learning to focus on the 20%. And that's what I said in the beginning was, people get locked into like spending hours and hours and hours creating a flyer, hours and hours and hours building out something that you could just pay somebody else to do. Or my wife finally had to tell me, she said, "Lionel, it's a flyer, get over it." She was working for me and I'd like, adjust this, change this. And she's like, "Who cares about the font? Just get it out, get the newsletter out." And I'm like, oh. So hopefully a lot of you relate to that. And like I said, I called it a hiding place. It was me spending all this time feeling like I'm productive, but I'm not really getting things done. So the idea with the 80-20 principle would simply be figure out what is the 20% that's giving me the 80% of the results, and live there. Put your focus on that. Does all that 80% matter? Some of it does. Most of it doesn't. Most of it we can get away with not doing it. But the idea is get the 20% done first. Because if we work on the 80%, when we get to the end of the day and we're like, I ran out of time and I didn't do the things that mattered most. The next one is what we call the next perspective. So the first one is commit to self-mastery, commit to the 80-20 principle, focus on the 20% that really matters. You'll hear these terms as we go through the course. And then the third one is to go from E to P. So what that stands for, is it's going from your natural ability to a purposeful So natural ability is like, you might be really good at going out and meeting with people. And the reality is, this entrepreneurial approach, this is our natural abilities. And then what happens is we'll go so far along and then we're going to hit a ceiling. And then this is kind of the rhythm that you see is I hit that ceiling, I get disappointed, I resign, I go to greener pastures, I'm going to get a job, I'm going to become a lender, something different. And then this cycle continues in people's lives. If we don't make a change, if we don't make an adjustment and commit to being purposeful, this is what happens. I'm 57 and I see, and I've done it plenty in my life where you just rotate through and you just keep doing the same rhythm over and over. So to break through this ceiling is you're going to change what you're doing. You're going to change your focus. What I just said, focusing on the 20% rather than the 80. You're going to put models and systems into place. And the one piece I think they left out here, which I'm surprised they did, was coaching. Is you should have a coach, you should have a mentor, you should have somebody that you can connect with that's going to help move you forward. A good coach is going to ask you questions and drive you in a way toward your success and not in the hype. So it's about getting purposeful. And what happens is when you see that little breakthrough, think of that line here. Once you break through that line, what is it? When you think about that line, once you've broken through, what does it make the line?
I would think I adjust my standard, I adjust my expectation.
You will, absolutely. Let's say that this was $75,000, right? That's your goal, $75,000. You shifted, you got model systems, time blocking, all this in place. You got very purposeful. You break through that $75,000 mark. Now the $75,000 mark is your floor. And now you have a new ceiling. So this growth continues. It's not like, oh, I broke through now. I remember the first time I made $35,000. And I was like, I'm an adult. That was my definition. I guess I'm like, going to be $35,000. And then I realized, and then I made $50,000. And then when it really hit me was first time I made $100,000 in real estate. And I realized it wasn't as hard as what I had perceived in my mind. And then my mind really began to roll, and I said, I can make 100,000. I can make 200,000, and I did. If I can make 200,000, I can make 500,000. I did. And so that's the cool part. This is the growth of getting into very, very purposeful and not just winging it within our natural ability, but really getting around people and growing. So the next one is just being learning based. I won't spend a lot of time on this, but it's the idea of some people go to classes and they go to classes and they're professional students, but they don't ever apply anything. So that's kind of what he calls it ignorant based. I know what I know and I'll ignore anything else. Like I've got it. And I'll hear that from people going, I got that. I've already been through that. I already know that. And they're know-it-alls, but they don't really, but they're not getting the activities. They're just like, yeah, I got it. On this side is the person. That's why Gary Keller says, go through Ignite 10 times. People will go, that's insane. Why would I do that? I've been through it 10 times. I've been through Bold 14 times. And you're like, wow, Lionel must be really slow. Maybe. But every time that you come back, like when you take Ignite the next time, you'll pick up on things that you never picked up on this first round through. So looking at it and make learning based the foundation, like learning and application. I'm going to learn and I'm going to apply it. I talked to some people and they're like, I'm going to read 52 books this year. Great. What I say is that's just a big, broad overview, and you have accomplished, and you can say I read 52 books this year. I would rather read 12 books and just spend an entire month like diving in and reading the whole thing through once, and then coming back and take an application and come back and read it 3 or 4 times in the month. That's where real transformation takes place. So Albert Einstein, one of my favorites, he says, I am neither especially clever nor especially gifted. Isn't that interesting coming from him? I'm only very, very curious. And when we come from that place of curiosity, even the curiosity of like, what am I capable of? You ever ask yourself that question? Like, what is my ability? What can I actually accomplish? What can I do in this real estate industry? If you want to be a top leader in the industry, you can. If you want to be a top producer, you can. Curiosity just says, this is what I want, and then I'm going to figure out how to do it. I don't have to go, if I just say I'm going to figure out how to do it, it'll stunt us because all of those ideas are not going to flow. Once I've committed to earning $100,000 this next year, which is available for everybody, then the curiosity sets in. What is the best way that I can do that? And ideas will begin to flow. The fifth one is, I love this one, is removing limiting beliefs. We all have them. Just understand that. We all have limited beliefs, depending on where we grow. Every time we break through a ceiling, we end up with new limiting beliefs. Like, I made 100,000, but can I really make 200,000? Oh my gosh, do I have the ability? Do I have the right people? So unlimit our thinking, just like leave it wide open. Like, I'm open to hearing what other people have to say. I'm going to believe in myself. I'm not going to look at my past and judge myself on my past. That's one of the fastest ways to build on the limited beliefs. I've done this before and I failed. Probably, and then I equate it. I'm probably going to fail this time as well. So in your workbook, it's got some questions. I want you just to take a minute and well, let's do this. Sorry for those of you that are online, I can't hear you. So, but in the classroom, give me an answer to this. You can write your own answer in there, but here's a limiting belief. I have to be an expert and know everything before I can begin my business. I'm not valid yet. They feel like that? Okay. Yeah. So what we're going to talk about doing, I want you to write in your manual, is we call it a reframe. So we want to reframe that. We want to change that language because it's very clear that we become what we think about. So we don't want to think these negative thoughts. This is a massive one that will hold us back. So what would be a reframe? What would be another way of saying that to the positive? Go ahead.
My husband is always amazed how much I actually do know in real estate in the years that I've been doing it. And so I have to think about, I still have a lot to learn, but I do know quite a bit.
Great.
And I'm willing to be curious.
That's perfect. Yeah. So that is the truth. Every one of us does. We know more than what we're doing. So that's a good way of reframing it. When this idea comes into your mind, like, oh, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I'm not an expert. We just reframe it. I'm constantly growing. I know more than I know. I know more than I think that I know. And I'm constantly growing. That's a reframe of that, rather than letting that sentence settle in. The next one says, I don't know how to achieve a profit goal that will fund my life this year. How can we reframe that? Yes. So it could be something like this. I've got a great team around me that is going to help me get exactly where I want to go. Keller Williams has a business plan, and I'm going to commit to learning that business plan to get me to my $100,000. I'm going to show you how to earn $100,000, or I'm going to show you what it takes to earn $100,000 by the time we finish today. I'm not comfortable talking with people about real estate. How can you reframe that?
I enjoy the challenge of talking to people about real estate.
Yeah, exactly. See how the difference that feels like? I'm not comfortable. That's stress. And for you to turn that around and how did you say that again?
I enjoy the challenge.
Yeah, I enjoy the challenge of talking to people about real estate. Every time I talk to people about real estate, I grow and learn more and more. So it's just a matter of really paying attention to our language and shifting that language so that it serves us and doesn't put us in bondage. I can't devote, okay, so we do have to go through this one. I can't devote time each day to lead generation. How do we reframe that one? There you go. I have to find time. Okay. Yeah. I don't get to sell real estate if I don't lead gen, right? So, you know, I can turn it around. When my wife and I, we had to change this because in Keller Williams and in the industry, we always talk about lead gen. And what I realized is when we talk about lead gen, some people's gut just starts to turn and they're like, oh, lead gen. It was like this terrible word. I gotta go to lead gen. Oh, they're talking about lead gen. Yeah. You know, and my wife was like, you know, really all we're doing is we're connecting with our community. Oh, that feels very different, doesn't it? Yeah. No, I'm going to take 2 hours and I'm just going to connect with my community and I'm going to have some great conversations. That feels very different than just lead gen. It feels very sterile and just like going at. But if we change that language and we're like, oh, I'm just connecting with my community. I'm going to make phone calls. Stacy's on here. She does lots of videos. That's how she does her lead gen. A lot of it. She just sends a 30-second to no more than a minute video and just speaks directly to somebody and sends it to them, and then they reply back, and then that's lead gen. That's a form of lead gen. It doesn't have to be a bad word. Okay, so the last one, and I'm going to have to move a little faster as I go through this, is just being accountable. So let me ask this: what does accountability mean to you guys?
Keeping track.
Keeping track. Okay.
Support, even if it's something that you don't want to hear, knowing that somebody's going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Love that. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times people look at accountability as such a bad thing. Like, they're not going to hold me accountable. It's a good thing. I mean, we all need accountability. We all have it in our lives. The idea is like welcoming accountability. And everybody should ask, well, if you have a coach, then that's part of your accountability right there. And you should get somebody else. You should get a partner and say, look, I'm going to lead gen every day for 2 hours or 1 hour, whatever your commitment level is. And get that person to hold you accountable and say, hey, I'm going to start at 9 and I'm going to finish at 10 or 11. And I'm going to text you whenever I'm done. And I'm going to say, hey, I set 2 appointments or I set 1 appointment. But hold each other accountable, and don't. A good accountability partner doesn't just let the other person, hey, I didn't do my calls. Okay. Talk to you tomorrow. And then what happens is tomorrow, the next day, and then all of a sudden the whole accountability goes away. So I'm going to let you read through this, but the bottom line of being accountable is owning. Like, this is up to me. And somebody who's not accountable, they really fight it. They blame other people. They take a negative attitude around things. So be accountable. Okay. Just want to do a check-in real quick. I'm going to do a check-in with our aunt. No, I'm not going to touch it. I assume all of you guys that are online, if you're having a problem, you can text me. I have my phone here, but I don't want to mess with the computer and screw something else up. So, all right, let me get ahead from that. So, okay. Okay, so what we're going to do now is Sean Akers. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He's a book. I think it's called Happiness Project, for those that are familiar, but he says happiness is not an individual sport. And he really makes it very clear in his book is like when we're around other people, we're more happy. When we are collaborating with other people, when we have somebody else that we lead generate, we have somebody else that we can talk to about our business and things like this, we're more happy. I missed a piece here. Okay. Okay, I'm going to drop into this. Let me just pause for just a minute. We'll just take about 3 minutes. And what are your ahas or insights? Maybe it's something that you already knew or that you were just reminded of, or maybe it was something new or some kind of insight so far from where we've been. We're going to do this throughout the morning as well. I'll always ask you these questions. So what stood out for you? What was helpful? What was insight?
What I heard was clarity in basically with the 20 principle is making sure you know what your 20 are, make sure you're doing it else. Everything else doesn't matter until they're done.
In case you guys didn't hear that, Mike was talking about this, the whole 20%, focused on the 20%, make that the focus. Bottom line.
Something I was trying to connect the dots with was that stat that came out in June was 80% of agents hadn't sold property this year, you know, in Oregon. I heard that from another realtor. I thought, oh my gosh, that's mind blowing. As where we're at the economy, I know the market shifted, but 80% of the agents haven't sold a house year to date. That was just like, oh my gosh. And then I think of the 80-20, I go, myself, I'm thinking, our 20% of the agents doing 80% of the work. That's how I'm thinking.
So just curious. So in case you guys didn't hear what Billy said is that a stat came out that shows 80%, 20% of the agents are doing 80%. Is that what you said? Or 20% of the
haven't sold a house
80% haven't sold a house
like around June 1st.
by June 1st.
Somewhere right now.
What does that do for you? When you hear that stat, how did it move you? Did it put fear into you or did it put excitement into you or somewhere?
It excites,
Okay.
but it's also mind blowing to think, oh my gosh, how many agents are just part-time agents, just kind of living on the overflow, not going out and getting it. And when the overflow is not there anymore, how many agents are going to continue being agents, or are they going to go get day jobs?
No, there's going to be a huge fallout is what's coming. And for me, it is exciting. I'm like, fine for them. I mean, like they're going to go get a job somewhere else. They're going to do something different, but it opens up market share. And to me, the question was, when you post that, how do I win that 20%? And I don't want to be at the bottom of the 20%. How do I figure out, how do I get to the goals that I want to be thriving in that 20%? People are going to leave and it's going to wake up more opportunity. And I want to go ahead and say this as you're lead generating and build. A lot of people are like, oh, my brother's a real estate agent. Okay, I'm not putting him in my database. Put him in your database because odds are 80% is that he's going to be out of the business. And then now you built a relationship with him. Yeah, my brother's out of the business now. Now I'm going to refer business to you.
Yeah.
So focus on the 20%. I love that. Okay, we're going to talk about culture here for a few minutes. So these are just some of the things that we do in Keller Williams, and I'm going to go through it fairly quickly. You probably know, but I realize that a lot of people don't understand these things that we're a part of. So our MVP, which is our mission, vision, values, beliefs, and perspectives, we can cover, yeah, it's going to cover each of these. So I'm going to cover each of these areas. These are just some key areas that Keller Williams focuses on in our culture. So the Keller Williams mission, if you're not familiar with it, is to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, and lives worth living. And then they added over the last year or two, experiences worth giving and legacies worth living. I love this. They added those two bottom ones, but I always love that. Build a career worth having. What does that mean to you? When you think about it, like, to me, it's like something I enjoy. A career worth having is like, a lot of people are like, oh, it's Monday. I got to go to that place again, 40 more hours. Or opposed to like, man, I get to go have conversations with people. I get to be a part of transactions that like the biggest transactions in most people's lives. One of the most emotional times in their lives. What's a business worth owning? The business we're going in is a profitable business. That's me being in that 20%. I'm not getting out, but I'm building a profitable business, and then life's worth living. To me, it's like, it's not all about business. It's like the income that I earn through my real estate business allows me to fund the life that I really want to live. We're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. And then experiences worth giving and legacies worth living. You've all seen this, but we won't take the time to go through all of them. But this is Keller Williams' belief system. Is that it's win-win or no deal. Like, it doesn't always work out that way, but that's what we're striving for. Honestly, it's not about beating up the other agent or beating up the other side. It's about, it should be a win transaction. But the best transactions are the buyer's happy, the seller's agent's happy, the buyer's agent's happy. Everybody's like, wow, that was great. It was great working with you. I look forward to doing another transaction with you. Integrity, simply doing the right thing all the time. Nobody's watching. I'm just still doing the right thing. Customers are not always right, but they do come first. Commitment, we talked about that, being committed in all things. Communication. There's always more than one side to the story. So seek first to understand. Oftentimes, the first person that comes and tells us something, we're like, that scoundrel, I can't believe they did that. You're like, oh, but I didn't hear the other side of the story. And I'm like, oh, now that makes more sense. Okay. So always seeking first to understand. Creativity, ideas before results. This comes out of Gary Keller's book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, where he takes that triangle and you've got a base at the bottom of that triangle. And that's your foundation. And that's what we're learning here. Build a foundation and then add creativity to the topic. I've done this long enough and trained long enough and worked with a lot of agents. What they do is they flip that pyramid over and now you're on the tip of it. And they add their creativity. They go, I know you guys got systems and models and all this stuff, but I got a great idea. And either these people are out of business in 6 months to a year, or they're doing a reset and going, okay, you know what? I tried it my way. I spent $10,000. It didn't do me any good. Show me how to build my database. So build a foundation first. That's what that means. Creativity, ideas before results. Build a foundation, and then add your creativity on top of it. Teamwork, together, everyone achieves more. So what we're doing, we're working together here. As we go through this class, we're going to be teaching one another. We're going to be practicing with one another. If you have a transaction that you're having a hard time with, you have people that you can reach out to. You don't need to feel like you're alone. So we achieve more by working together. Trust starts with honesty, equity, opportunities for all, and then success results through people. Okay, these are just a couple of the things that we do. Red Day every year. It's that day that we go in and serve in our community all across the world. Keller Williams shuts down. KW Cares, if you're not familiar with that, that's a nonprofit. That's a nonprofit that Keller Williams has to, like, all these floods and tornadoes and fires and all these crazy things that have happened in the United States. KW Cares is there to help these people. We've had several people in our company where they've had cancer or different problems, and then they have grants that they can help these people get through that process. That's just part of the Keller Williams culture. And then this other one I just wanted to point out is KW Kids Can. So I'm an instructor for this. I was very blessed to be able to be one of the first to go train directly with Gary Keller when they first opened this up. And Gary's teaching what he calls quantum leap, a world changer mindset. He's been teaching this for years. And he's like, I want to teach, if I could teach it earlier to younger students. So now we offer this even to junior high age. And we have a high school section, and then we have 18 to 28. So it's a very powerful course on 4 sections: revealing the possibilities within you, unleashing the extraordinary you, really the science of success, and then maximizing your potential, and then funding the life that you desire. Very in-depth. It's about a 7-hour class. Look for this coming out. I'm going to be teaching it coming up soon. I will let you know, you'll see it advertised. It's a great opportunity for you to reach out to either come yourself or introduce your clients and say, hey, we've got this great training for your young people, for your students. It's a great way, a great value. So that's a neat part of Keller Williams culture. I think I just jumped ahead. Okay. We move on. This is just a bunch of bragging stuff. It's just Keller Williams is always getting awards and things like that, so I'm not going to go over them. Another big part of Keller Williams is Gary has said, as long as I can remember, we're a training and coaching company, and we just happen to sell real estate. And that's how he sees it. We're a training and coaching company. So if you go to, I think it's in your pages here. On page 12, you would go to KW Connect. That'll take you directly there. And it's going to have, who's been into KW Connect? Nope. I often get that book, Jacob. Yeah, it is a massive training portal. How do I do an open house? Go to KW Connect. How do I lead gen better? How do I do my presentation? It's all there. And it's like with this class, we've got agents in our company taking time out to teach you. Nobody's getting paid for this, to do these classes. KW Connect is for international, where all these agents are putting this information in there for you to access. So it's a huge portal. And then we have all these local trainings here. And then we have big events like Family Reunion is once a year. Comes every February. If I were you, I would say I'm going to Family Reunion. Maybe right now you're like, I don't have the money to do that. Make a decision. I'm going to go, and I promise you, you'll figure out the way to get there. The sales will adjust to get you there. Keller Williams University, that's what this is coming out of. This is what we have Ignite. It's all part of Command or Connect.
Before you get ahead, what's the difference from reunion to mega camp?
Oh, good point. So
We're new, so I've heard things about them, but I don't know enough. What are you getting from each?
So you're getting training from the best of the best in a certain topic, in a certain area. So big Family Reunion is for these are in big Coliseum, or not Coliseums, but big convention centers. Yeah, there's only a few in the nation that will actually hold the size that we go in. But Family Reunion is a lot of breakouts, and like, I'm going to go to a class on for sale by owners. I'm going to go to a class on how to build a team. I'm going to go to so you've got all these different classes, and it's going to be usually 3 or 4 days long. And then you'll have a big meeting where everybody comes together. Here's from Gary Keller, the market. And Mega Camp is less breakout sessions and more everyone's in the big room, and Gary will bring in top agents in certain topics, and he'll interview them, and they'll give you all of their information. And that's one of the cool parts about Keller Williams. In most cases, people will be like, this is working for me. There's no way I'm sharing it, because if I share it with you, now you're my competitor, and I don't want to help my competitor. So that's kind of the big difference is that you're in the big room at Mega Camp, and you're seeing more interviews and direct topics. At Family Reunion, you get to choose your own schedule. I mean, there's going to be like 200 classes, and then you pick what is best for you. And one of the big parts with both of them is the connections that you're going to make, the referrals that you're going to get as a result of building relationships with people at Mega Camp and Family Reunion. So good question, though. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. And then we have a MAPS division. My wife is a MAPS coach. It's the coaching division of Keller Williams. So my wife coaches agents all over the country, a couple of them out of the country.
Doesn't MAPS also stand for Mega Agent?
Mega Agent Productivity System. Mega Agent Productivity System. Yes, that's what that stands for. So we have in-house coaching. So I work with the agents that have done more transactions, or at least 5. I work directly with, and then we have Marianne and Crystal, Bert, and they're working with the brand new agents, and our goal is to help you guys get to capping as soon as possible. So we're going to look at numbers here in just a little bit. So I'm not going to go into all this, but this is the technology. The only thing I want to say about this is you've got to get into this. It's like you have this room and it's full of all of these tools that's going to help you get to where you want to go. And we just don't ever open the door. So you want to get into this. The command it's got everything from design work in there to running ads, to your lead gen, to tracking your goals. You have to put your transactions in there in order to get paid. And some people, that's what they focus on. But it's, to me, and for everybody here, I would say one of the most powerful things is your database. As Gary Keller says, your database is your business. If you don't have a business, if you don't have a database, you really don't have a business. You're just trying to go out and get new people all the time. If we build our database, nurture it, who's heard of the 201 Club? Yeah, you've heard of it. You've heard of it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's getting your database to 201 as quickly as possible. I just didn't understand the term. But what Gary has shown is they're look at all the stats for those that have put in that they have at least 200 people in their database. They put them on what we call a 33 touch. We'll talk about that later in this course. Otherwise, you're touching those people 33 times. Auto emails, it'll automatically send the emails for you. The key is that you're going to connect with them directly 4 times a year. So that's going to be a phone call or a meeting that you're going to meet with them. And you'll have 4 pieces of information. Name, very basic. Name, phone number, email, and home address. If you have those 4, you have them set up on a 33 touch and you're reaching out to them at least once a quarter. You know, hey, Billy, Lionel, how you doing?
good. How you doing, Lionel?
I'm doing great, man. So, hey, what's happening in your life? You got any great plans this summer?
Oh, we're going to vacation. We booked a trip for Maui.
Oh, wow. That sounds amazing. So we're going to go through, have a conversation with him. That conversation can be that simple. He knows I'm in real estate. I don't have to say every single time, who do you know that wants to sell real estate? Who do you know that wants to sell real estate? People get tired of hearing that person. But when we build a relationship with somebody, hey, so tell me about your job, Billy, what's going on? So he's going to tell me, well, this is what's going on in my job. What's the natural thing for you to ask me back?
How about you?
Yeah. How's your business going? How's real estate? What's going on there? And then that's my opportunity to just drop in. Having those conversations with 200 plus people in your database is going to produce 20 transactions. That's what they show. What does 20 transactions earn you? I'll show you that in just a little bit. It's going to be above 100,000. So, and then you got your command app. Again, the expert on this is Corinne. So if you don't have your app set up, you want to get your app set up right away. This is a tool that you can get to your clients. You can be at an open house. You can be standing in the grocery store. It can be a friend of yours. You can text it that simple. Boom, click. They're going to, and all of a sudden they have the app. They can search anywhere in the United States. By the way, don't be limited to your business being right here. You can send referrals all over the nation. At the end of my real estate, whenever I was selling, we were getting about 30% of our business was coming from referrals. So I take a listing here, they're moving to Texas. I don't give them a chance to find an agent on their own immediately. I'm going to do them a favor and help them, which is a favor. Connect with an agent in Texas. I connected with an agent in Texas, fill out one form, 25% referral. Just got one the other day, $3,500. All I did was refer my sister. She lives in Texas. And they sent me a check, 60 days later for $3,500. So you don't want to miss out on that opportunity. So you can use this app for anywhere in the country, doesn't matter where they're at. So I'm not going to go through this. I'm not going to go through that. Okay, I want to talk to you real briefly about profit share. Is kind of a misunderstood concept that Keller Williams has. But think of it this way. Every real estate company, you have an owner. And profits come in, they pay their bills and all of that. And then if there's $50,000 profit, that goes to the owner. And it should. They're the ones that started the company. The way that Keller Williams looked at it is every owner has made an agreement that they're going to share the profits with the agents who help grow the company. So the way that that works is, so Melinda, let's say, for example, you have another transaction with another agent. Hey, that was a great transaction. I love, they have great culture about themselves. Everything went well. And then you end up introducing them to Keller Williams, and they name you as their sponsor. Everyone has a sponsor at Keller Williams. You know who your sponsor is? Really? Matilda is your sponsor. Who's your sponsor?
Carrie.
Who?
Carrie down in Midford.
Carrie down in Medford. Good job. So what happens is, is that every time you have a transaction, as long as the company is profitable and you made a sale, what happens is a portion of that, I won't go into it because it's kind of a complicated metric, is you'll get a portion of that sale. Is it coming from Jacob's pocket? Is Jacob paying a portion of his to you? No, it's coming from the owners. So the owners have split basically 48-52, and they're going to give a portion of that back. Very, very powerful system.
And it doesn't just go to me, it goes to my sponsor and my sponsor.
Yes, it actually goes 7 levels deep, and it can go anywhere in the world. We have profit share and growth share. So for me, it's been somewhere in the range of like $25,000, $30,000 a year that I just get through profit share because of people that I've introduced to Keller Williams. And like I always invite people to, there's a restaurant in city, but it's called the Peak House, and in Monmouth, or Independence, I guess.
Yeah.
And I found that place, and I was like, oh my gosh! So I'm telling everybody, oh, you got to go to the Pink House. You got to go to the Pink House. Such a great. Did I get anything for that? No, I didn't get anything from it, but I was just excited about it. Like I go see a good movie, and I'm like, oh, you got to go see this movie, and I'm just telling people about it. That's what this is all about. Is like, I love Keller Williams. I love the training. I love the community. I love the culture. I love so much about Keller Williams. It's just natural to tell other people about it. And whether it's another agent or somebody new, like Jacob getting into the business, you're like, oh, you should consider Keller Williams. And this is why they joined Keller Williams, and Keller Williams will reward you over and over again. I mean, I don't know, over the years, it's been maybe somewhere in the range of $250,000 probably that I've received through profit share, just for helping people get into the business. So, all right. Just for time's sake, I'm going to jump through some of this. This is just a bunch of the companies that Keller Williams has. I'm going to move on past those. I do want to make sure I'm on the same.
Are any of those lower companies here locally?
Oh, they're not locally, but I mean, some of, not like here locally, if you mean right in Willamette County, for example.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all over the nation, but I mean, they do have offices. We just don't have them here locally. But it doesn't matter if there's one in Portland or wherever they're at, they're designed to be able to work all over the nation. So this is just tools that Keller Williams offers. And one of the cool things is Keller Mortgage. I'll just touch on that one. It saves, it's going to, on the average, like a $400,000 house, it's literally going to save them about $8,000 on their mortgage. They just do it with 0 fees.
Oh.
And Gary set it up in such a way that it's not designed for profit. It's designed, even though it is profitable, it's designed as a tool for us to offer to our clients. So
More marketing.
Pardon me?
More marketing, but also helpful.
Yeah, it's just a tool. Like somebody comes, and I don't have time to explain it right now, but you'll want to be in a class on this, and just you can go into Keller Williams and just research it. It's a very, very powerful tool. I've saved a lot of clients a lot of money, and I would use it as a negotiating tool. I just can't go into it right now. We're just short on time. These are some of the communities. Keller Williams has these groups that you can become a part of. So diversity, equity, inclusion, KW commercial, if somebody wants to get commercial agent, land, luxury. I was with luxury for years. You know what I did? I was selling houses, and all of a sudden I got I don't know, it was like an $800,000 listing. And then I went and knocked around the neighborhood, and then I got another listing in that same price range. And then I kept knocking the neighborhood, hey, we got a new listing, we got a new listing. And then I got a third listing. And then I went, so I defined myself. And I said, I am, one of the most powerful 2 words, I am, whatever follows is important, a luxury agent. And I changed my card, Lionel Wilson, luxury agent. And my price point came way up. So then I got connected with KW Luxury, and you got different signage, and you got a different community of people that I'm talking about, talking to and supporting one another. So if somebody is in military veterans groups and stuff like that, or so anyway, there's all these different groups, young professionals, be a great group for some of you guys. So just be aware of that. We got a couple of things, so I should stop for ahas, but we're just short on time, and I want to get through this next part. I wish I could talk to you guys online. I apologize. I wish I could hear you and you could just speak out. Corinne, I don't know if that is possible. Corinne is on here. If it's possible for to have their sound on where I can hear them. If it is, if you can do that, that would be amazing. Okay. So I want to take you through a little vision. I want you to dream a little bit here. I want you to think about like what is it that you really want in your business. And so those of you that are online and here in the room, what I'm going to ask you to do is I want you to, we think in pictures. That's how we think. And everything starts in our mind. Everything is created first in our mind and then in the natural. So I want to create something in your mind. So on your page 15, you can write in that date. Today is whatever it is, March 10th, or not March, it's July 10th, 2023. And where are you going to be 1 year from now? This is really important to create this level of understanding of where you want to be. We talked about that in the beginning, knowing where you're going. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, I'm going to ask you to actually close your eyes for a minute, because when we close our eyes, we can dream much better. So I just want you to just get relaxed, take a deep breath. I'm going to read this. I'm going to read a statement to you, and then I want you just to process it visually. See it happening in your mind. Let your mind just go wherever it goes. So, all right, so everybody close your eyes. Those of you that are online, same thing, close your eyes. Today is July 10th, 2024. Your business is thriving, and your life is everything that you've actually dreamed about. Your customers are constantly raving about the experience and the value that you provide. And when they think of real estate, they think of you, your friends and your family. They're so proud of you. They're so proud of your success, and they're constantly referring new business to you. You're helping others live their dreams of owning a home because you're focused on helping them get what they desire. You're building the foundation and momentum for your entire career going forward. You're gaining relationships and experience and the income that you desire. You have become so confident in this industry. You're actually Rookie of the Year, or you're a top agent. Maybe you're part of the ALC. You're poised to hire a part-time assistant to handle the 80% while you take care of the 20% in your business as your business grows. You are so excited. It has been such an amazing year. And you look forward to everything that's coming forward and serving your clients in your community. Okay, go ahead and open your eyes. What I'd like to ask you is, this works a little different for everyone. I guess for those of you that are in the room, if you don't mind, just maybe one, two of you kind of short, but what happened when we did that? What was that experience like for you?
Think of gratitude. Just think of don't forget where you came from, but this is the beginning of a hell of a ride. Nice.
Love it. How about you, Michael?
Mostly it creates question of basically how to do it,
Okay.
how to get there.
Just to make a point on that, I have learned this lesson really well, is the how is important. I'm not saying that the how isn't important, but we always have to proceed it with want. Decide what we want. Decide where you want to be a year from now. We're going to break this out here in just a second, but really get focused on where do I want to be? Like, is your goal to earn $100,000 between now and next year? What does that look like? Where does that money go? What are the vacations that you're going to take? How much money are you going to have in the bank as a result of what you're going to do this year? What kind of confidence are you going to have? How are you serving your clients? What's your balance between listings and buyers? You know, how many weekends are you taking off? You look at, you know, what are the lives that you're impacting? Look at what you want. And I'm just telling you, it sounds crazy at some point. The how's going to show up, because what we focus on expands. What we focus on becomes more up. So if we focus on negativity, we get more negativity in our life. When we focus on the positive, we focus on what we want, the answers will come. People will show up in our lives. Blew me away. I didn't even understand that concept, but I was experiencing it when I put my blinders on and people would call me and go, "Hey, Lionel, I just need to list my duplex. Can you come list it?" It wasn't a presentation. It was just come list it. "Hey, I've already found the house. Can you just come write the offer for me?" Multiple times. I'm not kidding you. Like, I called it like business from heaven. It just kept falling down. I didn't know necessarily how it was happening, but it kept showing up and I just kept leaning into it. Once I understood it, then I started doing it very purposeful. I'm like, I'm not allowing all this crap to take residence in my house free of charge. Like, I'm going to focus on what I want and keep focusing on that, and then ideas begin to flow. And I'm telling you, that's exactly how it works. So we attract that which we're in harmony with. So we want to make sure what we're in harmony with is not, like I said in the beginning, that I was fearful. I don't want to be in harmony with fear. I want to be in harmony with what really matters to me. And honestly, it's not the 100,000 or 200,000. It's what does that do for you? When you think about it, like, how does that affect me? How does that affect my life? How does that affect my family? How does it affect the ability to give? So we're gonna drop in to, I want you to take on page 16, and I want you to think about that, your big life. So leave that center circle blank. And what I want you to do on those outskirts, I want you to put again, don't worry about the how, but I want you to put what really matters to you. Like, maybe there's something like you want to pay off your house. Maybe you want to put your kids through college. Maybe you want to donate a certain amount to some kind of fund. Maybe it's taking your entire family on vacation and you paying for it. So I want you to fill in some of those circles around it, the little rectangles. Fill some of those in and put a dollar amount to it. Do not think about how, just think about what you want. Maybe it is having 50,000. One of my clients told me that the other day. I intend to have $50,000 in my savings account by next year. Awesome. Write it down, just fill them in.
So this is based on a 1-year goal.
Yeah, this is just 1 year. Let me take that back. Let's not do that 1 year. Let's just do that overall. It doesn't have to be accomplished in 1 year. Maybe the house doesn't get paid off in 1 year, but your goal is I'm gonna pay off my house. I owe $200,000 on my house. I'm gonna pay it off. So, in our example, we put two kids through college. It's gonna be $120,000. Just put big items in there that you desire. I'm gonna walk over and check the chat. Hopefully I don't mess this up. Let's see.
Oh. It counts.
And you know what? I just want to say, as we go through, this can feel like an exercise that maybe is a little futile. You're like, nah, come on, let's just show me how to sell real estate. You just need to understand that really real estate is more 90 to 95% of it is mindset. It's what we think. I think I can, or I think I can't. Henry Ford says, either way, you're right. Whether you think you can accomplish these things that you're putting in here or not, you're right. You got to plant it in the head, in the mind first. And once we get it planted in the mind. So I want to do a real quick exercise with you, or a little story with you, but I want everyone, you may have seen this before. If you have, just play along, experience it again. I want everybody to think about a child. Think about a young child, somebody 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, somewhere in that range. Maybe it's your own child. That makes it very easy. Maybe it's a grandchild. Maybe it's a niece, a nephew, a friend's child. You guys have somebody in your mind? Got somebody, Michael? Billy, you got somebody in your mind?
No, okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I was right.
I know. I appreciate that. Here's what I want you to think is if I said, I'm going to give you $100 and I'm going to lay a plank across this floor. It's about 12 inches wide, it's about 3 inches thick. I'm just going to lay it across this floor. And if you'll just walk from one side to the other, I'll give you $100. How many of you would do it? Yeah, pretty easy. I'll do that. Heck yeah. So now we take the same plank. The only difference is we're going to stick it across 2 buildings. Okay. There is traffic below. It's about 100 feet up. Okay. But you got a thick slab going from one building to the other. So now if I said, look, you just got to walk from one side to the other, would you do that for $1,000? Any takers?
Maybe.
$5,000. Would you do it for 5?
Yeah, but I put more thought into risk and reward.
Okay. So you're putting
Be
some
more
thought
prepared.
into it, risk and reward. You're like, okay, we balance this out, $5,000. I can be very careful, walk across this, get to the other side, $5,000 rich. Okay. So, so now I say, okay, the building's on fire, by the way, on the other side now. So I just need you to get to the other side. You don't have to go in the building. I just need you to go to the building and then come on back. Would you do that for $10,000? Okay, so there's hesitancy in the room. I don't know what all you guys are doing at home, what your thought is, but don't know, maybe it's 10,000. I can pay off this. You're processing that whole thing through. Okay, now imagine this. You got the plank across the building. On the other side, the building is on fire. And that little child that you just pictured in your mind is standing, screaming, help me, help me, help me, as flames are coming up. Who's going across the plank? Billy, you're not even looking at it. You're not thinking about it. You're not analyzing. You're just going straight across. You don't even consider anything. You snatch that child up. You get back to the other side, and it's not until this side that you go, holy crap, what did I just do? What's the difference between the beginning and the end of crossing over?
Focused on the mission, not the obstacle along the way.
That's right. That's right. There was a purpose. There was a big why. That child was the big why. And logic goes out the window. All of that processing, Billy, that you were talking about, like, well, I do risk reward. You don't have time for risk reward thoughts like that. You're just like, damn, that child needs my help. I'm going, I get back, and that's it. That's the way it is. In real estate, it's extremely important that you discover what is your big why. What is your purpose for doing this? Because it's the thing that's going to get you across that board and back. It's what's going to get us out of bed in the morning. It's what's going to cause us to keep building communications with other people, going on appointments, even when we fail. It's the why. It's the why behind it. My why in the beginning was just survival. I'm not kidding. I told you how much money I had, $139, started this business. And I'm like, I don't have time to mess around. My kids need to eat. I got to pay the mortgage, rent at that time. And that was my purpose, was my family. So you have to determine, like, what is it that really matters to me? Now, that little circle that you just filled out, this circle here, it should be the beginning of your life. Like, you're like, hey, I want to give $20,000 a year to this fund that I really believe in and support. You know, I want to build a beautiful house. I want to buy land and start a legacy for my family. Whatever your reason is, when you determine that, that's what you keep going back to. Every time I have a hard spell, I keep going back. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's what keeps us going. It's the difference between those that really succeed and those that fall off and go get another job doing something else. So how much money do you need to support your big why? So if you look on page 17, I'm going to move past this. This is just where the money goes, but I want you to see this. That worked out great. This isn't 100% right, but I want you to think about between now and next year, how much do you want to earn? Now, I'm talking net before taxes in this case, but we're going to factor in expenses and stuff like that. So I want you to write down on your piece of paper, how much do I want to earn between now and 12 months from now? You have that number? Okay, write it down. And then what we're going to do is on page 17, we're going to break out these numbers. So feel free and write it in your manual if you have it. And I'm just going to go with the number of $100,000 as an example. And you can do the math if your number is higher or lower. So at $100,000, at Keller Williams, if you're a single agent, an individual agent, I got to quit saying single because people are wanting to date. So company dollar is going to be $15,000. You got a $12,000 cap, and you got $3,000 royalty. You guys understand that? Okay. Do you understand that, Billy? Yep. Okay. So that's your cost that's going into the company. And then if you just put in, say, this may vary. I'm going to spend $20,000. I'm going to buy signs. I'm going to have some advertising. I'm going to, whatever your expenses are. So as a single agent, individual agent, 20,000 is a good number. That's going to put you, wait a minute, that number.
that with taxes?
Huh?
That with taxes.
No, we didn't put taxes in there. That's why I said, this is minus taxes. So your gross commission income,
Yeah, on the average of if it's a $9,000 average commission, 20 deals will get you $180,000 gross commission.
right?
What it's not factoring in is your business expenses, your royalty.
No, we are.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, but if you're going back, you've got basically only $35,000 of it, of expenses. That's not, so
My guess is.
I'm
maybe the rest
guessing
is
they're
taxes.
putting in taxes.
They're factoring the taxes into the 180.
as well.
I think,
Okay,
total gross. commission.
okay. So
That'd be about
We're
right.
missing $45,000.
I know that, I don't know where that, our slides got all messed up this morning. I had this all broke out, but, okay. So A, we put 100,000. B, if I wanted 100,000. B would be $15,000 for your cap. I put $20,000 on C, and then total gross commission is $135,000. That's what I need. I mean, I take my, you got it? I'm adding those three up. I'm just adding A, B, and C to get $135,000, right? And then I'm gonna take an average commission, and I based it on $400,000 with a 5% commission, or 2.5 on your side. That's gonna be a $10,000 commission. So in E, I put $10,000 as a average commission. And then your annual transaction goal. You guys know what that is?
It's the goal in which how many transactions we do during the year.
It's how many transactions you need to get that $100,000 with paying all those expenses. It comes to 13.5. So we're gonna round it up to 14. 14 transactions. That's with you paying your company dollar, paying $20,000 in expenses. It's going to take you 14 transactions to earn $100,000. What is your aha about that?
Now do the math on when you're on a team, you split, you give away all your commissions. Now we're on that number.
Right, so it's different. If somebody's on a team, then they have to factor that in. Some of the people on here are on a team. And if they have really good support and they have that ability, that's a great model for them. But you're right, as yourself, I hear what you're saying. To me, the first time I broke this out, and I was like, I mean, most people, when I ask them, like, what do they want to earn? They're like, I don't know. How many transactions you want to do? I don't know. What's average? I'm like, are you average? Like, I don't like to think average. 14 transactions is going to make you $100,000. To me, I was hoping to see that from you. I don't think that's going on inside. I'm like, that was really inspiring to me.
I've done the math all the time.
To me, it's more of because I'm not thinking of it as the amount of money, since I'm not going to have many things I have to deal with. For me, it's more of, I want to see how many transactions I can do.
How many transactions you can do?
So it's like, for me, it's more, oh, that would be nice, because potentially the goal would be 12, and then really it's just more, that's why I just want my, if I hit 12 here, I'd be happy, but I want to get more.
Yeah.
I want to just do more transactions. Then I'm just thinking like, well, 20 is actually not that much in my mindset, but I'm ignorant. And I almost didn't just like, so I have to figure out how to have multiple transactions at the same time. That's to me, my aha. It's like,
That's
okay, learn how to do multiples at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of want to piggyback on that because and with tying what you're saying, because it's both sides of it, because when you look at that number and you go, okay, based on those numbers, 14 deals a year, that's literally basically 1 point,
Yeah.
10%, 1.1 a month.
Yeah.
And really, well, then you have to ask yourself, well, what does it really take to get there? Because how hard can that be, really? Is kind of where I'm going with that. It's just a matter of, well, like you're saying with your 200 database, I get 20 deals. I'm already ahead of that number. with a 200 database. If I've got a good database that's quality and I'm working it right.
Yeah.
And so, but to go back to what Jacob's saying is, so if you turn that around and just say, well, you know what, I'm going to focus on the number goal, because that's kind of, I'm kind of with Jacob on that. I look at it from, I'm more interested in how many transactions I make, because I know the numbers based on what you just showed take care of itself. It's okay, well, so if I wanted to do 2 transactions a month, I just have to double the effort of the one, and now I already know by the end of the year what I'm going to make. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And when you break it down, we're not doing that in this class, a little later, but when you break down the numbers and just break it into its simplest equation.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, okay, I need, in order to earn $100,000, I need 14 transactions. And then you go, and then break that down. How many contacts do I need to make a day in order to get one appointment? Like, to hit that number, one appointment, I don't want you to do one appointment. That's not my, but one appointment a week will get you there.
Yeah.
4 appointments a month, if you're converting at 50%, it's going to get you there and beyond. So when you break down those numbers, it all comes back to this whole 20%, focusing on the 20%. Quit getting caught up in all this other stuff and go, how the hell do I build my database fast? What's the fastest way? How can I get in front of people? Some people, Michael's one of them. Like, I'm not from this area, so he's working on strategies to, like, how can I get in front of people to get that database growing? Because I don't know anybody in this area. But some of you have lived here for years, and you're like, I'm like, which is going to be one of the next questions is, so flip over to page 18. So here is, write this down real quick. I'm going to do it. Our minds work really fast, so I don't want to give you a ton of time to think. I'm going to give you like 30 seconds. So who do you know that is going through a life event that may lead to a, don't overthink it. Who do you know that's going through a life event? They're having a baby, they're getting divorced, they're getting married, they're got a new job. Just go right there, write down as many people as you can think of that might be going through a life event.
Yourself doesn't count.
Right. So if you're online, just write that down. Who do you know that is going through a life event that may lead to a move? It doesn't have to. It's just a possibility. Second question. Who does not know that you're in real estate yet? So this should pop into mind. And like, oh, well, I guess I should tell my mom.
Yeah.
Right. Who does not know yet that you're in real estate?
She might not respond well.
And listen, they could be here in town or they could be in Florida. It doesn't matter because we talked about referrals. So if you got a friend in Florida that's going through a life change, let's get them. Who have you not spoken to in the last 2 weeks? Now that one's going to be easy. Probably that list. All we're doing is triggering your mind. And this is, and it's really exposing, like, oh my gosh, I got a lot of people that I can reach out to. That's what you're going to realize is on the next page, it says, who has recently moved? This is on page 19. Who may be thinking of moving soon? Again, this is all speculation. Maybe you know something, maybe you don't, but you're like, I don't know. If you look at the graph above, it says, on average, people move 7 to 10 years. How long has somebody lived there? If they're somewhere in that 7 to 8, 10-year mark, it's very likely that they're thinking about making a move. And who is somewhere in the middle? The whole idea is figuring out, like, who can I reach out to? And these are just stimulators, is all it is, to help you think about. Because usually when I sit down with somebody and they're like, everybody know, I've already talked to everybody, and then we start poking holes in it, and they're like, oh, that's true, that's true, that's true, I haven't reached out to that person. So the idea is to, on page 19, is catch people on the move. We have to get them into our database and be connected with them on a monthly basis, so that when it is time, maybe it's not this year, maybe it's not next year. That's what happened in my business. I had put all this effort into it, and then it started raining down, and I wasn't doing anything for it, but I had done it back here. Had I not done this, I would not have got this. I just stayed in contact with people, checked in with people, had a good time, laughed with people, had coffee with people, had lunches with people. And then all of a sudden, because of those relationships, people just randomly referred business to me. You understand? It wasn't random. Okay, so let's look this last on page 20. This is just a model for conversations. A lot of times people don't know how to guide a conversation and bring it to talking about real estate, or just bringing up a conversation. If you're in a networking group, if you're just talking to somebody on the phone, you run into somebody at the store. We use this acronym FORD, which stands for Family, Occupation, Recreation, and Dreams. So they're just starters, conversational starters. And remember this, it doesn't have to be, okay, family. Tell me about your family. Now tell me about your occupation. Now tell me about your recreation. It's not like that. You might use one of these. You might use all four of them. You might use two of them. You might use them in a totally different order. They're just ideas to talk to people about. D talks about dreams. So you can also add to that goals. Dreams or goals. So, we're having a conversation, let's say with Billy. I say, Billy, listen, hey, just curious, do you have any big goals that you're working to accomplish this year?
Yeah, want a vacation more.
Vacation more, cool. Where would you be going?
Like Mexico and Hawaii.
Yeah. So is there a particular place in Mexico that you?
Cancun, New Cancun.
I love Cancun. Yeah, I used to live there. So it's an incredible city. So would you be going on your own, or is that family members, or who would you be going with?
No, bringing my wife, 2 girls, my new grandbaby.
You have a grandbaby?
Yeah.
I did not know. What is your grandbaby's name?
Sawyer.
Sawyer. How old?
Just turned a month yesterday.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love that. So, hey, just curious, do you have any real estate goals for the year?
Yeah. I mean, like kind of like what he was saying with, it's like I'm not so focused on the transaction number, but the volume of the values of the properties. I want to not just sell lower budget properties. I want to be able to sell higher end transactions over time to get your numbers up there quicker and more efficiently. You can do less transactions and make up for it in the sales volume.
Love it. So you notice what happened here? I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but we were doing a role play. Did you realize we were doing a role play? Okay, because it went very natural. Did it feel natural to you? Yeah, because I was sincere. Like, I didn't know that you had a grandbaby. Definitely didn't know that your grandbaby's name is Sawyer. Sawyer, you said. So you understand, when I have this conversation with Billy, I'm taking notes here. Like, he has an interest in Cancun. I wonder where he's going. And he's going to take his, I don't even know who his 2 daughters are, or his 2 kids. I think he said daughters.
Yeah, daughters.
2 daughters. So I'm building a relationship. I may know him a little bit, but you're building those relationships. And then he went into real estate. He talked about his real estate personally. And, but somebody else might say, yeah, no, I was thinking about buying an investment property, or, yeah, I don't know, our family's growing. Now we're considering, maybe getting a little bit bigger home with a bigger yard so that we can, but that's the idea behind Ford is that they're just places. And notice what I did is we just kept drilling down. I just kept building that relationship, which went from vacation, that was where we started, to learning about his family, his grandkids, and then his real estate desires. So this is a great model to use. But like I said, whether you're in the store talking to somebody, by the way, Michael has his real estate tag on, name tag. He does. Get in the habit of doing that. It's absolutely amazing. Whether you have the name tag or you have a logoed shirt or something like that, I can't tell you how many pieces of business I got standing in the store and somebody goes, "You're in real estate?" We think the number one question is people are going to ask you,
How's the market?
"How's the market? Is this a good time to buy? Is this a good time to sell? What do you think?" And it's a great opportunity. And I'm going to leave this. We're going to wrap up with this. Is when somebody asks you, "How's the market?" What would your answer be?
Oh, are you looking?
Are you looking to buy or looking to sell? Yeah. Some people do this. They get over enthusiastic and they're like, "How's the market?" "The market's amazing. The market is great." Where? In Sweet Home? In Portland? In Lynn Benton? In Florida? Right? It's not a very wise answer because you don't have enough data to know. So not only that, but you want to narrow in to figure out where they're at. Usually, people are not asking that question random. They really are like considering something. Usually they'll tell you like a used car salesman coming out. They're like, "How can I help you?" "Oh, I'm just looking. No reason." Usually there's a reason behind it. "How's the market? Is this a good time to sell?" But that's the way that I answer it, Jacob, is that I want to first clarify and say, if somebody says, "How's the market?" I'm like, well, that's a good question. It really depends. So tell me this. Are you asking that question because you're looking to buy or looking to sell? I'm going to go straight to that point. And they'll go, "Well, I mean, we're just thinking about it. We're just kind of kicking it around." Boom, you're in the door. That's where you want to get. You don't want to just go, "It's great." It's like, great for what? And then they're like, and I'm going to keep that conversation pretty short. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're thinking about moving. Great. Again, drilling down like what I did with you. If you guys were to move, where would you move? Well, we were thinking about Florida. Interesting. Why Florida? What draws you to Florida? Well, my kids live there and I got grandkids there. Oh, okay. So if everything worked out and you were to move, what would be like maybe the timeline that you're thinking about moving? Well, I don't know. Maybe it just depends on how good the market is. Good. I'm going to set it upon. You know what? I do a free consult. It's basically called a CMA. It's a competitive market analysis. Always use the language. Don't just say CMA. They don't know what that means. Explain to them. And I can show you exactly what your house would sell for in this current market. Would that be a benefit to you? Yeah, absolutely. Great. Let's set a time and do that. Whether you're talking to your sphere or whatever, it's always about, you got to take it in steps. It's about making the contact. The contact's about setting the appointment. Do not do the appointment on that call. You just want to gain enough curiosity to set that appointment. I'm going to share all of that with you whenever I come over. I'm going to pull all this data, and then you're going to move from there to signing the contract. And we're going to cover all of those steps as we go through this, but one step at a time. We don't have to get too far ahead of ourselves. We don't need to know everything ahead, but basically I'm making a contact. That contact's going to lead me to an appointment. That appointment's going to lead me to a listing or a buyer contract. That's going to lead me to a sale. Okay. And then we just keep rotating that process. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up. We have another class starting here in just a moment, right on our tail. So what I like to do is every time when we end these, end up with 3 ahas, 3 insights, something that stood out to you, maybe something that you learned new, or something that was just refreshed for you. So who wants to go first?
My aha is to learn growth system. Because of just stuff I do, I never, for some reason, think about that. You know, a lot of people tell me, "Oh yeah, I'm moving out to where my kids are, and different states," and I just never thought, well, I can actually help them with that.
Yeah, but so much business gets lost that way. Good. Really?
I mean, overall, the breakdown of the income and the overall expenses and everything, you realize how little you take home when you split it. So it's one of those like, but just means you got to work that much harder, but you're getting good support around you at the same time. So it's
Well, you're an individual agent, though, right? Oh, you're on it.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's what matters is that you can do more business because of the support that you have there.
Business expense category might be helped by the team.
Right, exactly. That's a good point. Yeah.
Someone told me, if you're on a team, you're not buying leads.
It depends. Yeah. Yeah. So if anyone's going to join a team, you want to make sure that it's just a good fit for you. And both are great. Individual agent is great. Being on a team is great. It just depends on personality and things like that. So one more aha and we're going to wrap up.
The 80-20.
The 80-20. Yeah. Yeah, we really narrow in. It's one of the biggest challenges is that we get caught up in all of this whirlwind and all of these things to do and we don't get focused. If we build our day and our week on and focused on the top 20%, the activities that are going to move you to business, building relationships, making the contacts, doing open houses, knocking door, whatever it is, but I got to get in front of people. If I don't have people to work with, I don't get to sell real estate, bottom line. So, all right, I want to encourage you guys on Friday, on Wednesday. We won't have a class this Friday because we're doing the rebrand opening in Corvallis. We'd love to see you guys all there. So Wednesday will be Mary Ann Honeyman will be teaching on Wednesday, and that will be a great class for you guys. So again, we'll be in person. I encourage everybody to be in person if at all possible. If not, then join online. And thank you all for being here. Thank you for your commitment, your engagement, and your grace and the little fumbles in the beginning getting started. So, all right, have an absolutely great day. Focus on the 20%.
Thanks for your time.
How long you
Did you just pick this up?
Are you doing online?
Yeah.
So do you want to just take this over, or do you?
Yeah. Is that
This is the new computer, but it's on the Market Center. Let me see. Thank you all for joining for Ignite. And there is a class to follow. Joel is going to be leading that, which is on the market.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can stay on if you want. He's going to cover the market, what's going on in our local market. And thank you guys for being in attendance.
So how do you choose the slides?
So I think if I
Okay.
So I just like, I have.
close the slides.
There is.
Oh, do you have a slide deck?
No, but I like to put it on and
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you should be able
probably that slides.
I know I have the form. I even have my one downloaded.
Okay, so here's your deal, and then you can just do share.
Okay, and let him show the.
Well.
Yeah, if he's on his computer and you're on this one, you can just do this.
Let
I
him
can
share.
just send my slide over to that computer, does have an email attached to it.
I don't know. I need to get Corinne. She knows. She here. She is here. So I'm gonna put it right now so multiple people can share.
But if you just hop on your computer and just go on the Zoom link, Tyler,
I can just share it.
and we can just share it. Yep. And I'll just do it with my computer too. I'll just share it. Go through it.